See the screen? Is that a yes? Yes.
Yes.
All right. Okay, so this is the condensed versions as I started doing last time because of where we are in the project. So again, the blue dots are the sites that we've been keeping track of. And this is where we are today. There's been more movement. You can see up in the upper piece up here, that site, which was a lease site, we have power now. We also have power to one of our IPTV sites here. That's the KTIN Fort Dodge site. And we're currently working on power to the remaining sites. The good news is Craig Allen is back now, and he's working with us to resolve the power situation, and that's kick-started pretty quickly. So we expect the rest of the lease sites to have power by the end of by the end of next week. All right, so again, the sites of interest here are the Calhoun site, which is ongoing in Hardin. The remaining were just the lease sites and the IPTV, the Keosauqua site down the bottom, which you need to resolve the power situation to as well, and then the rock bracket sites. Hardin was one of the difficult ones, challenging ones here that we've been showing as active for quite a while. Last time I showed you pictures that the tower was actually done. It's probably hard to see from this photo now, but we've done the foundations over here and over here for the generator, the LP tank, and the shelter, and that's going to be delivered today. So if everything works well with the power company, we should be able to get that site up and running pretty quickly. That site is kind of critical because it sort of connects a lot of things, and it will interconnect the region 2, which is right now isolated because we don't have a connection back into the loop. So in summary, we basically down to one site that hasn't started, which is a Rock Rapids site, and then the 2 active sites, which are the Calhoun, which is a lease site, and the Hardin site, which we expect that to be done. By the time we meet together next time, it's going to be done. Calhoun is moving quickly too. We're starting the process of doing the shelter and the generator while the mod stuff is being permitted. And then the last piece is, which we show here has not started, being the Rock Rapids site. So we come up with a plan to actually start doing all the flat work. And we have one final hurdle to jump to make a decision which way we're going to go with that tower. That tower is complicated because we have to consider, just like when we do things, when we started this process with sites and shelters with DOT, that we had to consider their operations. But with IPTV, we have to consider their operations as well, right? So it gets pretty complicated either way. So we're trying to figure out the best way to do that. And but I think we have a lot more clarity right now, so we should be making a decision pretty soon. Last time we talked about the coverage testing that was taking place. We had started with Guthrie and Jasper County, and then we had the remaining 3 there that were in progress. That was last time. As of today, this is where we stand today. So we have about a third of the state covered. All the orange counties are the ones that are in progress right now. And the next target, once we get done with those, will be the remaining blue ones up here in this, which is mainly Region 2.
How many teams do you have on that?
It kind of goes up and down, but on average, 8 teams. Right now, we're experiencing a 99.6% success rate in all the testing that we've done to date. So I have some information. It's not quite the latest and greatest one, but I do have one that I wanted to show you. So we have this large map, and we're showing the counties that we tested. This is a sample back a couple of weeks ago. So what I want to do is I'm going to zoom in so give you an idea of how this works. You can see all the little squares represent the tiles. So every green dot represents a sample in that county. As you can see in Crawford County, we got one red dot. In Monona, we have more dots, but these dots are actually expected. This is where there's a river that goes by, and we actually show them as not painted because we expected that to not be covered at the rate that we're expecting. Look at Shelby, every single tile that was tested passed. Audubon, Carroll had just one. Again, if we zoom in, you can see that there's a little white area there. So that was to be expected. So when we're done, we're going to have this entire map covered. It takes a lot of work to put these together. So my engineer has been in jury duty. So I kind of missed him, but he'll be back next week and I should be able to update these maps again.
Is this straight from the program?
No, the program generates all the raw data, and then he has to import all the raw data into this stuff to be able to show it where it goes.
So where it's red, you assume that's covered with a signal?
No, what the red dot basically means that it didn't meet the bit error rate of 2.4. Doesn't mean that it's not usable. As a matter of fact, part of the plan is to go back later and do a DAQ on it, which basically we go to the red dot and say, can you hear me now? So we confirm if you heard it or not.
On all of the red dots?
I'm sorry?
On all of the red dots?
On all the red dots, yeah. Even though the pass-fail criteria is the bit error rate, so even if you could hear the conversation, it still failed from a statistical perspective because that's a requirement. But we still go back and do the DAQ so that we can comply with the requirement.
The DAQ of 3?
The DAQ of 3.4.
I thought you said 2. I must have misheard.
And that stands for delivered audio quality, and it is literally, can you hear me now? How do I sound? Yes, you sound good. No, you don't sound good.
Okay.
Excuse me, just to verify, because originally you said 2.4. It is 3.4, not 2.4, correct?
Bit error rate and DAQ
For
are two
pass
different
fail.
things. Yeah, so the bit error rate is one value. The DAQ is a 3.4.
The DAQ is 3.4, but the
Yes.
bit error rate is 2.4.
Yes.
Okay.
So a delivered audio quality of 3.4 equates to a bit error rate of 2.4 for TDMA.
Okay.
So again, a lot of interesting if you look at all this, and again, we'll be able to provide this as a huge file that you'll be able to print, plot in the big thing so that you can see all the green dots and all the red dots.
They've been dodging tornadoes too?
What's that?
Have they been dodging tornadoes too?
Well, we've had a lot of challenges. Guys have been getting stuck. The cars get pretty filthy.
Yeah.
We've had we had the magnetic signs attached to the vehicles. We've had to actually put some more like tape and stuff to hold it because there's a lot of rain and wind and flood areas as well. So it's been quite a challenge. All right, so again, we continue to build. What happened here? This is supposed to be 2, so we have actually 2 active builds and 1 to start. The microwave path alignments, that's just going to continue for a while. The DPS dispatch training, that was completed. That was a significant event. That means that the DPS dispatch centers were actually able to use the equipment that's going to be used when they go operational on the system. And that included DPS dispatch training, but it also included radio training as well. We did this training in 3 different locations in Storm Lake, actually 4 different locations, Storm Lake, JFHQ, Cedar Rapids, and Cedar Falls. So now the focus is preparing for the switchover. So what that means is that we have equipment that's in parallel with the equipment that's being used today. Part of this preparation for the training was to parallel the existing conventional equipment so that the dispatchers could still use the new equipment that's accessing the old equipment. So this DPS dispatch cutover is really all about going into a dispatch center and pulling out the old equipment one at a time and then putting in the new computers. So instead of having them, because right now what we did is we placed them all in conference rooms at the dispatch centers. It is connected to the backroom equipment. So now we're actually going to put it at dispatch room at each operator position. So it's more disruptive, so we got to do it one at a time. We're scheduling to do that starting on October the 22nd. All right, so we continue to reoptimize the 700 megahertz. We are pretty close to the end. And what came up last time was we had an issue with the state of Illinois. So we've gone back and forth on how to resolve that. So we came with a resolution. And the resolution is, if you look at this map here, it was 2 specific sites, the Muscatine and the Scott County site. The green circles represent what's called the regulatory contour. We're trying to keep that within 3 miles of the state border. So what we're doing is we're changing the antennas there to have directional antennas that point away from the edge of the state. Doing that resolves 40 dB mu, which is a regulatory contour that was giving Illinois some heartache. And with that, they would accept all the other sites without a problem. So we have the antennas in stock, and we're going to move forward with reconfiguring those, which is good because this entire area we actually haven't tested for coverage yet.
So there will be no spillover at all then in that one?
There's no spillover for that signal level, which is the 40 dB mu, but there is still use of the system outside. But what happens is that the level of reliability starts dropping.
So is it okay if I elaborate on that? So you see the outside pink areas, those are both contours of a 25 and a 5 contour for portables and mobiles. And 40 is where that's the mileage around your base stations that it's transmitting out on. And it is a RPC requirement not to go over 3 miles past your border areas. They did a good job at doing the antenna. That's what I suggest. That's what I would have suggested. Directional gain, really good. I just didn't know if you knew that.
That's good information. I know we've been struggling trying to get this resolved.
So it allows your portables, mobiles to go beyond that 3 mile border and still have some strength.
That's good.
Yeah, that's good.
Super. All right.
I think that's all I have.
Okay.
Any questions?
I don't.
Okay.
I think our AT&T rep is